Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here. I think this might be my first official comic book review on the new iPhone. I'm not sure, so don't hold me to that. But if it isn't, then wow, highest recommendation. Look at this. I'm in my Super Paper Mario pajamas. I'm on my bed. What a what a Marmaduke fan setup. So, Kamen America is the fourth good book I've read by the Timothy Lim, Mark Pellegrini team, and I kind of want to go back and read their first books now because I remember giving those rave reviews and being happy with them. Like I remember saying about My Hero Macadamia, it was a great book to give to my roommate who wasn't that into comics and he dug it. And now that I've gotten through Kamen America, I kind of want you to add a superlative to everything I've said in the past, where if you give me one good book, that's like great. If you give me two good books, that's like really great. If you give me three good books, wow, that's really great. By the time you hit four, I feel like it's time to for more people to start talking about how Timothy Lim and Mark Pellegrini are doing something. They are dropping some hints about things they might be doing in the future and some of like their bonus materials and like all the other cool characters who they're showing up and interacting with. But what Common America is doing is taking some of the things that were built on in the earlier stories and starting to say there's a bigger universe or there's a bigger world to all this. So I want to kind of like address something with regards to My Hero Macadamia. So one of the Twitter back and forths I remember about My Hero Macadamia is, should you have like Trump books? Are Trump books a good thing? And I loved it. So it kind of like weirded me out that people were having this conversation, but they delivered a great book on time. It was a lot of fun. People who weren't comics people loved it. That's kind of one of the reasons why I want to go back and read My Hero Macadamia. But my thought has been you should always try to tell like an eternal story. You should always try to tell a story that speaks to an eternal truth. And so having something that's of the now, of the immediate moment, that has Donald Trump in it, for example, it does place your book into a certain time and place where you can say, like, this is most currently relevant now because he's in office. But because Mark Pellegrini and Timothy Lim also talk about deep eternal ideas, and one of the themes of I'll get into this in the review. One of the themes of Common America is saying the thing that everybody is thinking, but nobody's comfortable saying for some reason, right? Because they're willing to do that, their work has this bigger resonance that I think will be eternal. That I think people will be. It's like Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny will have cultural references to the 1950s and 1960s, and that doesn't stop you from enjoying Bugs Bunny because the eternal part of Bugs Bunny lives on forever, and the part of Bugs Bunny that's referencing our current moment actually adds some kind of like historical charm to it. Now you can go back and watch Bugs Bunny in World War II, and it's kind of like that teaches you a little bit about what was it like to be alive in World War II, right? So Common America, by kind of taking ideas from My Hero Macadamia and Black Ops, is building towards a universe that I think we can start talking about they are dunking on Marvel Comics, not just by making fun of Marvel Comics, but by telling a joke at the expense of Marvel Comics and then saying, look, we can do it better. Here's a story. And what's important about this is, I've been saying this over and over again, it's not enough for you to say SJW Marvel is bad or Thundercats Roar is bad. You have to have a positive counterpoint to it. Common America, by doing this, is not just having a fun joke at their expense, it's showing us a way forward. Mark Pellegrini and Timothy Lim are the future of indie comics, all right? I want to see people checking them out. I want to see more cool collaboration stuff. I'm going to be reaching out to them about cool collaboration stuff because they get it. This is a professional team delivering great books. I love this opening quote. I just want to highlight this. Do you serve truth, goodness, and beauty? Or will you sell out your character to serve money? If money, then beauty is optional. If beauty, then money is optional. Making both is quite the trick and a rare luxury. Doug Tenapple. All right, you ready? Spoiler, 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 spoiler. Let's go into the plot and let's talk about some of the themes. So the immediate theme is that the character who was Warhead in the last book, Carly Vanders, right? So the character starts as kind of a joke at the expense of Carol Danvers, but then they evolve her into something beyond just being a joke. So we kind of get this classic like flashback to a formative moment in her childhood where she starts. I got to read some of this because it's so dense that you kind of need to hear it. So I don't know, maybe like a little brief storybook time with. I'll only read a little bit, guys. Don't worry. All right. So what she admits is that she doesn't really like baseball, and her teacher, Miss Wormwood, who kind of like Calvin and Hobbes' teacher is Miss Wormwood, the character from Screwtape Letters is Wormwood. She said that girls can do anything that boys can do, that girls should do everything that boys do, and that I was setting a bad example to the other girls by making dresses. And her dad says, but you like making dresses. I do. I love making dresses. But she says girls aren't supposed to do that anymore. We aren't supposed to sew clothes or play with dolls or bake brownies. All right. So this is something where but as an aside, one of the things I love about Timothy Lim and Mark Pellegrini is they're kind of like the ultimate bro team. It reminds me of Akira Himekawa, except they're two guys instead of two girls. It's a completely different way of thinking from my process. Like for me, writing is drawing and drawing is writing. And for them, they seem to have like this really great back and forth where they both co-create these ideas, and then Mark goes straight into story and Lim goes both in art. So I really want to talk about both dimensions because I'm seeing them up the game on both dimensions here. So writing-wise for Mark Pellegrini, what's important about this is he is talking about something that a lot of kids have an experience with and nobody writes a story about. Nobody makes a comic book about it. Nobody makes a cartoon about it. What about little girls who want to be girly and they're pressured by peer pressure and teachers and their culture to not be girly, which is a real thing. There are real people in America experiencing that with their kids. So why don't we talk about it in our stories? Now, what's kind of brilliant about this is a direct parallel to kind of the tomboy story. So the tomboy story is a girl has these boyish characteristics that are kind of unusual, and she feels maybe like out of place or out of her skin. She feels like she's not allowed to play baseball if she wants to play baseball. She's not allowed to, I don't know, roll around in the dirt if she wants to roll around in the dirt. And the thing is, people have almost all my life, and like all the way back to like Charles Schultz and Peanuts in the 1950s, people have always liked tomboys. There's something inherently likable about a tough girl who wants to hang with the boys and do boy things, right? Because I think for normal people, when normal people see their kid is attracted to something productive, something valuable, something that's not just like a waste of their time, a normal parent encourages that because they see that their child is devoting themselves to something productive. So if a little girl is very athletic, normal parents encourage that. I think there are weird people who think that TV is real life, and that in real life, if a parent sees their girl playing with a transformer, they freak out and say, no, girls are not allowed to play with transformers. I am here to tell you that parents don't care if their girl plays with transformers. But this is now taking that theme of you kind of have to decide what you want to do with your life. And you can't let other people tell you you're not allowed to do that or you're not supposed to. Let me just read it because it says the point even better than I can. So Carly says we're supposed to play baseball and lift weights and I don't know, chop firewood and stuff. Her dad says, I don't know much about girls chopping firewood or playing baseball, so long as that's what they like to do, what they want to do. But I do know there ain't nothing wrong with girls sewing pretty dresses. And her friend Vicky doesn't get picked on like she does. All right, this is great. The overarching theme is it's not for her teacher to decide what her purpose in life is. And this is what her father leaves her with. And then so she loves sewing. That's her big thing. Here's another instance of this. So another recurring theme is, what is the thing that everybody's thinking, but no one is willing to say? So she starts making pretty dresses. She goes to kind of like support the troops in Top Kekistan. Come on, Mark, that's like some Reddit tier stuff. But all right, so in Top Kekistan, they put on a show and everybody's cheering. And so she says, how did everybody like the show? Encore, yay, woo! And did everybody like the outfits? And they all have to be silent. They were super. Shut up, Austin. You'll get in trouble again. All right. So what this is getting at is the thing everybody knows, but no one is willing to say is, if you say they look beautiful, they look gorgeous in those outfits, I love the legs, right? If you say that kind of thing, there's like a giant hammer that's going to come down and ban you from above and cancel you, right? Which makes them afraid to say that. This is also something that is affecting the superhero comic book industry. The American superhero comic book industry is about beautiful men and women in skin-tight outfits, right? So this is superhero stuff. This is superhero stuff. Boob windows and dem hips, that's superhero stuff. If you're not doing that stuff, you are no longer doing an American superhero comic. Maybe you're doing like a gritty, super-powered urban fantasy or something, but if you love American superhero comics, the beautiful people are an important part of it. You can't strip that out of it. So this is now where they're kind of moving out of just parodying SJW Marvel into saying something productive. It is not wrong for you to be like this. One of the other things I kind of like about Carly's character is she's a little bit of a blonde, but it's not derogatory, which is unusual. Because like the stereotype is, oh, the dumb ballet girl blonde, she's so dumb, da-da-da-da, right? Like she has ditzy moments, but they're very charming, and she's not stupid. It's just she's exuberant and kind of maybe she talks a little too fast before her thoughts catch up with her, right? And she's not stupid at all. She's very bright and she's very dedicated. So as things unfold, okay, I wanted to call attention to something in Timothy Lim's art. So his early work is obviously, I think, very influenced by My Hero Academia. He also had a strong influence from One Punch Man. You can kind of see it in his face construction. I think Tim's pushing himself a little bit more. He's adding some more like comedic cartoon expressions. He's really like pumping it up for laughs. I really dig that. Even in kind of like some of the early pages, it was sort of like he brought in maybe like a little bit more of a hyper simplified style to make the kids look cuter. So that's neat. So she gains her powers. I'll skip that conversation because it kind of touches on what I've already talked about. So in her superhero work, her problem parallels her real life problem. Her real life problem is she's had people telling her what kind of woman she's supposed to be. She has a dream that she wants to pursue, that she's passionate about, and she's not sure how she's going to accomplish this. And one of her friends kind of points out that's kind of a first world problem, but the fact that it's a first world problem doesn't make it any less significant for you, because it's basically, are you fulfilling your purpose? Are you living your life the way you're supposed to be living your life? So there's some fun stuff where the agency wants to give her like the name Warhen because they think that sounds really cool. They prop up superheroes and make merchandise out of it. Here's another like funny expression. And, you know, there's like some funny, crazy, kooky monsters, that kind of stuff. And again, like sometimes funny, crazy, kooky stuff can be annoying, but they don't dwell on it too much. They show you the funny, crazy, kooky pumpkin monster. They do a joke about how, you know, there's all kind of crazy monsters that they got. Okay, I got to read it again, actually. That name is terrible. Trust me, kid, chickens are big money right now. Restaurants, cartoons, comics. You got to get into the trend before it flies the coop. What's your origin? What happened to your parents? Oh, well, my mom and dad moved to Progress City for... Wrong! Your parents are dead. You can't be a hero unless you're an orphan. So the agency... Oh, I got to read this. Ever read The Hero's Journey? We got a template to follow. This is great stuff. So the superhero agency wants to fit her into a template that they think will be successful. And Mark references The Hero's Journey, which is kind of like the book that's famous for The Hero with the Thousand Faces. It's the theory of storytelling that's kind of been made famous by Star Wars, where you analyze the meta-narrative of a story, you break it down into these pieces, and you try to tap into those pieces of meta-story in The Hero's Journey. And what I love about this is Mark is kind of making us think about it without saying one way or the other. Because maybe a criticism of The Hero's Journey is it kind of, it overemphasizes analyzing a story and breaking a story into all its little bits and pieces rather than just enjoying the story. And like J.R.R. Tolkien would criticize this. He didn't like the idea of hyper-analyzing a story and trying to find a bunch of little factoids at the story. And I'm kind of on the fence about it. I feel like it's really useful for you to look at the hero's journey or the meta-narrative stuff, kind of like the Jordan Peterson, chaos, sneaks, right? Like that kind of stuff can be really, really helpful to writing a story as long as you don't basically like live in your own head and overanalyze everything. Sometimes the story is just a story. Sometimes there's just some fun elements in it, and you don't need to nitpick every little aspect of it. So what's interesting about this is they are representing a sort of follow this program, follow this order, follow this set of steps, and we'll make you into a financially successful superhero. Forwarding ahead, there's like a fight between her and her agents about how she represents her brand, and she finds out that her friend's father is in deep, deep trouble. So, you're crazy, you can't go. Siggy, you were asking me how I got my name. Is that right? See, you were asking how I got my name. I remember what my father told me, and he was right. A spirit of self-determination, of self-reliance. These are the things that make us uniquely American. And behind the mask, that's ultimately all I really am. I may not be born to be a hero, at least not the one some people think I should be, but I was born to do some good with the little I have. I'll get your dad out of there. I'll get everyone out of there. I promise. This is great. So, the female superhero is now going to go kick some butt, right? Which is something you expect in a superhero story. But her theme throughout is that she feels like a feminine aspect of her character is being stamped out of her by the modern culture. And so what she recognizes is, well, gee, I don't want to join the army. I don't want to wear jack boots. I want to wear pretty dresses. But there is still something I can do. So as she finds realization that there's something she can do, now we're ready to go see her kick some butt, and we're rooting for her because the butt kicking is less important than the human character finding something that's true about herself, being true to herself, not compromising her principles. What's also important about this speech is Americanism is absolutely critical to the American superhero comic. So when I forget his name, the My Hero Academia guy, when he makes a Japanese superhero comic, he looks at American comics. He makes All Might a hyper-American character because he gets that Americanism is central to what a superhero is. It is annoying when in a Superman comic they say truth, justice, and other stuff, expecting you to just fill in the blank of the American way. That's annoying because the only people who get that are people who know that Superman represents truth, justice, and the American way. So once again, why are people afraid to say it? Why are people afraid to say, wow, these girls look beautiful. I love how beautiful they are. Why are people afraid to say truth, justice, and the American way in a superhero comic? So when Mark Pellegrini and Tim Lim say it, it lands. Beautiful. There's a great fight sequence. Okay, I won't spoil it. It's a fun Russian villain. There's a neat twisteroo at the end that kind of fits in. Look at that! Look at that! That's American superhero comics right there. All right. And I won't spoil the end because it kind of like they always have a nice little surprise at the end and it foreshadows what's coming next. But basically, they're now going from just doing like kind of like one-off books to building a universe, and I'm totally invested. Once you deliver 4 high-quality projects on time and all 4 of them really land, you've made me a customer for life. So basically, like good book number 1, good book number 2, good book number 3. By the time we're at good book number 4, we're now ready to start talking about this is something. There's something happening here. I want billionaires to read this and start turning these ideas into like Saturday morning cartoons for kids. They are deeply resonating with something that other people won't talk about because they're scared to talk about it, which is going to give their stories a long shelf life and a long ability to speak to families. I'm going to show off some of the extra art. Carrot's War Journal by Carrot and Shtick. Sasha Perdigao, 2 pinups by her. Gorgeous. Hopping ahead. We've got some of Timothy Lim's concept art. I love the little detail that her hair is similar shape but slightly different when she transforms. By the way, the only joke I didn't get, I got the joke that she has a Kamen Raider poster or whatever it is, but she doesn't speak Japanese. How did she know that the guy was called Kamen? That was like the only like fridge moment I had. And I did like the joke that she has a Kamen Raider poster because she thinks it's pretty and she has no clue what it is. That was funny. And then I won't spoil the American superhero comics. But anyway, I won't spoil what happens at the end. And they have a little dedication at the end. Okay, so you should be following this creative team. You should be buying their books. They obviously have more exciting stuff coming soon. So when you follow them, if you missed a previous book, I don't know, ask them about where you can get the reprint of it or something. But there will always be a new book on the horizon, and they do a really good job of each book being fun in its own right while also building up something really, really exciting. 20-minute video, they deserve it. Best indie comic I've read this year. It's hard to pick a best indie comic because there are lots of good ones competing for that spot. But what I am willing to say is that the Mark Pellegrini, Timothy Lim team are leading the pack in terms of what an indie book has to do to build success in the long run, which is actually a theme contained within the book itself, which parallels Kamen America's theme. I won't dig that up and spoil it, but basically being true to your principles and committing yourself to fulfilling a purpose and not just selling out is absolutely critical to telling stories that will resonate in the long run rather than just make money now. That's it. That's the point. Check them out. I cannot wait for the next book. I cannot wait. I am so happy with my purchases. This is what professionalism looks like. Delivering a quality product I love, and I can't wait for the next one. I'm going to go reread My Hero Macadamia now, because now I kind of want to look for all the things they might have been building up for this. All right, I'm number one Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. Love, 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 love you guys. Catch you later.